For 20 years, I have defended Mercedes-Benz like a faithful soldier. Through the boxy glory of the W124, the indestructible W201, and the era when the three-pointed star meant you had truly arrived. So when my wife said, "Let's look at the new GLC," I smiled. The GLC, formerly the GLK, has always been the sensible heart of the Mercedes lineup. The Goldilocks SUV. Not too big, not too small. Premium, but not pretentious. But then the 2024 model arrived in my driveway. And within 48 hours, I felt something I have never felt behind the wheel of a Mercedes before. Disappointment? No. That's too simple. Confusion? Closer. But the real word is betrayal. Not because the car is ugly. Not because it's slow. But because the new Mercedes GLC is not what I expected. It is a $60,000 philosophical paradox. And today, I am going to tell you exactly why this machine broke my heart in 3 distinct stages: the hints, the tension, and the emotional break. Let me introduce you to the car that made me question whether the star still stands for excellence. Let's rewind. For those of you who don't obsess over German SUVs, the Mercedes-Benz GLC is the company's best-selling vehicle globally. It sits between the baby GLA and the full-fat GLE. The previous generation, the X253, 2015 to 2022, was a masterpiece of subtlety. It wasn't flashy. It had the aerodynamic grace of a river stone. But underneath, it had a chassis that could dance, an interior that felt hand-stitched by angels, and engines that purred with Teutonic restraint. The new one, the X254, launched in 2023 as a 2024 model. The marketing blitz was relentless. Digital first. Hybrid future. The most intelligent GLC ever. I am a rational man. I do not buy cars based on grille size. I buy based on physics, ergonomics, and the way a door sounds when it closes. So, I approached the new GLC with optimism. Change is necessary. Electrification is inevitable. I get it. I test drove the GLC 304matic. The spec sheet reads like a victory lap: 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 48-volt hybrid system. 255 horsepower. 295 lb-ft of torque. 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. A 11.9-inch central portrait touchscreen bigger than an iPad Pro. Burmester surround sound. Augmented reality navigation. On paper, it is the perfect suburban destroyer. But cars are not driven on paper. They are driven on broken asphalt, through rain-slicked roundabouts, and in the silent, judgmental space of your own garage at midnight. And it is in those real-world moments that the illusion shattered. The first hint came before I even turned the key. It was the texture. I opened the driver's door. The previous GLC greeted you with solidity. The new one? Look closely at the dashboard. Mercedes has fallen in love with what they call floating surfaces and neural design. In human terms, this means there is a lot of gloss black plastic. I'm not talking about the soft, expensive lacquer you find in a Bentley. I'm talking about the same fingerprint magnet, scratch-prone polymer you find in a 2020 Nissan Altima rental. I ran my finger across the center console. Squeak. I pressed the climate control vents, which look gorgeous, by the way, like turbine engines. But they are made of a thin, hollow plastic that clicks when you adjust them. The previous generation used rubberized, dampened materials. This generation uses visual luxury rather than tactile luxury. This is hint number 1, material regression. Let me cite a source here. Car and Driver noted in their 2024 GLC review, the cabin's lower panels and some switchgear feel a notch below the class standard, reminding you that Mercedes is aggressively chasing margin. Aggressively chasing margin. That's corporate speak for, we removed the felt lining from the door pockets to save $1.47 per car. Hint number 2 arrived at the touchscreen. To adjust the side mirrors, you used to reach for a physical joystick on the door panel. Muscle memory. Now? You have to tap the screen, navigate to vehicle, then light and visibility, then use a digital slider. To change the direction of the air vents? There's a menu for that too, even though the physical vent is right there. I am a 38-year-old man. I should not have to take my eyes off the road to toggle a virtual button to fold my mirrors in a car wash. This is not innovation. This is solving a problem that did not exist. As Autocar wrote in their first drive, the new GLC's interior is a triumph of screen over sensibility. You interface with the car through a portal, not a cockpit. Hint number 3, the ride quality. The test car had the optional air suspension, Airmatic. On a smooth German autobahn, it glides. But I live in Michigan. We have potholes that swallow smart cars. Over sharp edges, the GLC thuds. Not a controlled thump like an Audi Q5. A harsh, metallic crash. It seems the 20-inch wheels and run-flat tires have no interest in absorbing reality. 3 hints. Cheap materials. Hidden menus. Harsh ride. But I was still in denial. I told myself, it's a hybrid. It's heavy. They're learning. I was wrong. The tension was about to snap. The tension phase is the week you actually live with the car. Not the 20-minute test drive where the salesperson is talking about lease residuals. The living happens at 7:45 a.m. when you're late for school drop-off. Let's talk about the engine. The 2.0-liter 4-cylinder with the 48-volt system. When you start the car, nothing happens. Silent. That's the electric starter generator. Cool. But when you pull away gently, the transition from electric to gas is like a nervous tick. The car stutters. Just for a microsecond. But enough to make your coffee wobble in the cup holder. I looked this up on the Mercedes-Benz GLC Owners Forum, a brutally honest source. User MiamiBenz23 wrote, the dual clutch feeling on the 9G-tronic transmission is confused. It holds gears too long in eco mode, then short shifts in comfort. It cannot decide if it wants to save fuel or pretend to be sporty. I agree. In comfort mode, the throttle pedal has 2 inches of dead travel. Nothing happens. You push deeper. Then the turbo wakes up with a shudder. It is not linear. It is jumpy. You cannot drive this car smoothly without the concentration of a bomb disposal expert. Then there is the steering. The previous GLC had hydraulic-like weighting. This new one has electric steering that is so light at parking speeds you could spin it with your pinky. But at highway speeds, it artificially weights up, creating a resistance that feels fake. It's like shaking hands with a man wearing a rubber glove. You feel the insulation, not the connection. And the sound? Mercedes knows the 4-cylinder sounds like a sewing machine. So, they have piped in artificial engine noise through the speakers. The Verge reported on this in 2023. Mercedes calls it sound experience and offers 4 profiles: subtle, sporty, balanced, and electric. I selected off. You cannot turn it completely off. The car lies to you. It emits a low, digital hum that matches the throttle position. It is the automotive equivalent of canned laughter. But the real tension point? The brakes. Because the GLC is a mild hybrid, the brakes are blended. The first inch of pedal travel uses the electric motor to regenerate energy. The second inch activates the physical brake calipers. The transition is jarring. You approach a red light. You press the brake. Nothing happens for a moment. You press harder. Suddenly, the car grabs like you've thrown an anchor out the window. My wife asked me, "Why are you braking like a teenager?" I wasn't. The computer was. By day 5, I was exhausted. Driving the new GLC is a cognitive load. You are managing the transmission's confusion, the steering's fakery, and the brake schizophrenia. That is not luxury. Luxury is effortlessness. The new GLC demands effort. The emotional break happened on a Tuesday. It was raining. I was driving my son to his piano lesson. He was in the back seat, quiet. The GLC has optional ambient lighting with 64 colors. I had set it to a calming magenta. The 11.9-inch screen was showing the augmented reality navigation, a live video feed of the road with floating arrows superimposed. It looked like a video game. And I realized, I am not driving a car. I am operating a display. My son said, "Dad, the music stopped." I tried to use the steering wheel touch controls to fix it. Mercedes replaced physical buttons with capacitive touch pads on the steering wheel. These pads are so sensitive that a slight brush of your thumb changes the radio station. A swish changes the drive mode. I accidentally put the car into sport mode while trying to skip a song. The engine roared, artificially. The steering tightened. The suspension dropped an inch. My son flinched. I pulled over. I sat there, in the rain, listening to the silent hum of the 48-volt battery. And I felt a wave of sadness. Because I remembered the 2005 Mercedes E-Class, W211. My father's car. It had buttons that felt like they were milled from a solid block of aluminum. It had a key that turned with a mechanical clunk. It had a ride that absorbed the road without insulting it. That car was expensive because of what it was. The new GLC is expensive because of what it pretends to be. Source: an article in Road and Track titled "The Commoditization of the Three-Pointed Star Perfectly Articulated My Pain." Mercedes has realized that 80% of buyers never exceed 4/10ths of the car's capability. So, they've optimized for the test drive, not the 10-year ownership. The shine wears off after the lease return. I realized I didn't trust the car. I didn't trust that the screen wouldn't freeze. I didn't trust that the brake blend would work in an emergency. I didn't trust that the piano black console wouldn't look like a murder scene of fingerprints after one Starbucks run. This was not a relationship. This was a transaction. And unlike the GLC's plug-in hybrid range, claimed 51 miles electric, by the way, which is a lie, real world is 38, my emotional battery had run out. Here is the truth. The ugly, honest, uncomfortable truth. The new Mercedes GLC is not a bad car. It is a confused car. And confusion is worse than failure. A bad car you can laugh at. A confused car breaks your heart because you see the ghost of greatness inside it. The truth is that Mercedes is stuck between two worlds. They are terrified of Tesla. They saw the Model Y outsell every luxury vehicle on Earth, and they panicked. So, they jammed a giant screen and a touch-centric interface into the GLC to look modern. But Tesla gets away with the screen because Tesla never had physical buttons. You don't miss what you never had. Mercedes is stripping away 130 years of tactile heritage to imitate a tech company. And it shows. Authentic source * Consumer Reports published their 2024 owner satisfaction survey. The GLC scored 2 out of 5 for driving pleasure. Owners complained specifically about the overly sensitive steering wheel controls and glitchy infotainment responsiveness. That is not anecdotal. That is a statistical failure. The second truth, the previous generation GLC, 2016 to 2022, is a better car to drive today. Seriously. Go find a used 2021 GLC 300 with the optional AMG line. That car had a 2.0-liter without the hybrid complexity. It had a physical touchpad and scroll wheel. It weighed 400 pounds less. It rode on conventional steel springs that were better tuned than this new Airmatic. You can buy one for $35,000. The new one starts at $48,000 and quickly hits $65,000. You are paying a $20,000 premium for a larger screen and a hybrid system that saves you 3 miles per gallon. The math doesn't work. The third truth, the competition is hungrier. I drove the BMW X3, which is old, but perfectly resolved. The X3's interior plastics are lower quality than the Mercedes? Actually, no. The BMW uses a unified design language. It has physical buttons for climate control. It has a shifter you can actually grip. The Audi Q5 has a quieter cabin at 70 miles per hour. The Genesis GV70, which costs $10,000 less, has real metal switches and a V6 engine that doesn't vibrate at idle. The GLC wins only on star power. But star power fades when the car underneath doesn't deliver. Mercedes' own press release says the new GLC has a heightened focus on digital experience. That is the problem. They focused on the digital at the expense of the mechanical. A car is not a phone. A car is a chassis, an engine, a steering rack, and a seat. The screen is the servant, not the master. In the new GLC, the screen is the dictator. So, what did I do? I returned the GLC to the dealership. The sales manager asked me, "What can we do to put you in this car today?" I looked at the pearlescent white paint, the AMG wheels, the glowing grille star. And I told him the truth. I don't want to sit in a video game. I want to sit in a Mercedes. I walked across the street to a used luxury dealer. I bought a 2019 GLC 43 AMG. The previous generation. It has a twin-turbo V6. It has a physical clock on the dashboard. It has buttons that click. It has hydraulic steering mounts. It is flawed, it drinks fuel, the suspension is stiff, the tech is dated. But when I drive it, I feel the road. I feel the engineering. I feel honesty. The new Mercedes GLC is not what I expected. I expected evolution. I expected the company that invented the crumple zone, the anti-lock brake, and the airbag to know that you don't fix what isn't broken. Instead, they delivered a revolution for the sake of the quarterly earnings call. Here is my final impact statement for you, the viewer. If you are buying a luxury SUV today, do not buy the new GLC because you think you should. Turn off the noise. Go drive it. Drive it on a bumpy road. Try to change the temperature without looking at the screen. Try to merge onto a highway without the transmission hunting for a gear. And then go drive a 3-year-old GLC. Or a BMW X5. Or a Mazda CX-90, which, ironically, feels more premium than the Mercedes in the places that matter. The 3-pointed star used to stand for Das Beste oder Nix, the best or nothing. The new GLC is neither the best, nor is it nothing. It is a $60,000 maybe. And maybe isn't good enough. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go drive my old car. It doesn't have a portrait screen. But it has a soul.